calling the meeting to order. It is 6:20 on November 28th. Welcome everybody. Glad to see you here. This is an unusual schedule for us. Usually it's the second Wednesday, but we had scheduling issues with that Wednesday, so this is an exception. And so this is officially classified as a special meeting, not a general meeting. So, okay, we may stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I looked at the same thing. You and I both looked at the same thing. Broken wing. Broken wing.
Oh, it's like a gift like this.
Well, I got
Oh, wow.
Put that on our
You left over. Oh, just left over.
Thanksgiving.
With that, I'm going to move on to item 4. Call the roll, please.
All right, David.
Yes.
Hassan.
Yes.
Susan.
Yes.
Alex. Absent. Jason.
Here.
Andrew. Absent. Brandy. Becky. Absent. Assad is absent. Gabriel is here. Isam.
Here.
And we have quorum.
Nice.
Thank you. Item 5. Now this is new to this board. We have never done consent calendar item before, at least for this board. Maybe previous boards did. And so I want to clarify that for everybody involved, especially stakeholders. On the second page of the agenda, which is actually has page 3 at the bottom, it explains in it what the consent calendar is and what we do and do not do in it. The consent calendar is intended to approve items that are not controversial, that are not much of an issue for the community. It's a matter of approving minutes, and we've accumulated 4 sets of minutes to approve, and it's approving monthly expenditure reports. So to allow us to focus on the things that are important to the community, we put them on the consent calendar for a single vote for everybody. It still counts as one vote. There's still a public comment on that vote before we take it. So that's what happens on the consent calendar. However, any board member and any stakeholder will, and I will ask the question in just a few minutes, have the right to say, I want item A, C, and E, or just B taken off the agenda, the consent calendar, I should say, and put on the regular agenda. So we'll take that out, and we will address it as a separate item right after what's left over in the consent calendar. So the intent is not to obscure the ability for people to comment on a specific item and want a separate vote on it. But if there's no issue with it, we proceed with it. If anybody has an issue with it, we pull it off, no questions asked. So with that in mind, I will ask the question now to the board. Any board member wants to pull any item off the agenda? Susan.
A and B.
A and B.
5A.
Yes, 5A and 5B. Any other item want to be pulled off the consent calendar? Okay, stakeholders, anybody wishes to pull an item off the consent calendar to discuss it or comment on it?
I'm sorry, what are you referring to? Because I don't see.
I'm sorry. On page 2 of the agenda, the first page is the rules and regulations. Yes, so the second page, you'll see item 5. Item 5 has A, B, C, D, and F all the way down. So those are voted on as a single item under the consent calendar.
Do you see it?
Okay?
So you're just referring to the minutes?
4 minutes and 2 monthly expenditure reports. And by the way, there is a full packet. There was a full packet. It is there. There's a full packet over there with all the attachments for every item, every receipt, every piece of paper for the public to look at, and if they want to see it, something detailed in there. And there's one packet for the board, but everybody else on the board just has the minimum amount of paper so we can save on printing paper and not waste paper. Okay, so, you get that, man? Yeah, okay. Any other item of the consent calendar? Anybody wish to pull? All right, so we're pulling items A and B off the consent calendar. I would like to then ask for any public comment on the consent calendar that is remaining. No public comment. Can I have a vote of the board?
Sure. Do we have a second or anything like that?
I need a motion, so
All right, I'll make a motion to approve consent calendar C, D, E, and F.
I'll second the motion.
second. On the vote, please.
All right, David,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Alex, absent. Jason,
Abstain.
Andrew, absent. Brandy,
Yep.
Becky, absent. Assad is absent. Gabriel, yes. Isam,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Thank you. Now we'll put back item 5A on the agenda for a vote. So first, it is for approval of the minutes of August 11th. Any board comments on those minutes? Yes?
Yeah, on page 10, I'm not sure what you were trying to say. It says, rather than discussing individual homelessness issues, comma, first Thursday of each month at Pillars Cafe at Shepherd of the Hills Church. I think it's supposed to read, rather than discussing individual homelessness issues here, attend the Homelessness Solutions Committee meeting the first Thursday of each month. I think you need to insert that. Does that make sense? I think that was left out.
Can you repeat this? I go right down.
Where's that at?
That is in the minutes on August 11th, 2018.
It's not in that. It's in the packet.
So, should I,
Francis, did you get that?
Yeah, I made a remark, yeah, I'll have to see it when I see it.
okay, it just,
I,
yeah, you're referring to, rather than discussing individual homelessness issues here at the retreat.
oh, it was at the retreat.
Yeah, please attend the Homelessness Solutions Committee meeting the first Thursday of each month, et cetera, et cetera. I think you left out the part where if you want to discuss homelessness issues, go to the committee, as opposed to discussing it at the retreat.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any other comment?
No.
Anybody else? Any comment on the minutes? Okay. Any public comment on those minutes? No public comments. Can I have a motion?
Sure, we'll make a motion to approve August 11, 2018 minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Amended motion.
Call the roll. Call the roll.
All right, David,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Alex, absent. Jason,
Yes.
Andrew is absent. Brandy,
Amendments, yes.
Becky is absent. Assad is absent. Gabriel, yes. Isam,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Thank you. Item 5B, the minutes from September 12th meeting. Any board comments? Yes, Susan.
Okay, page 4, his name is Rob Crampton with a C instead of Rob Rampton with an R. It's Rob Crampton, C-R-A-M-P-T-O-N. It's under
I'm sorry.
Comments.
With a C-R-A-M.
It's missing a C at the beginning of the name.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Rob Crampton on page 4, and then
Bottom.
on the bottom, yeah, and then on the same, near the bottom of the page, it says Rob Crampton from Richmond, California, is in town attending a conference and stopped by to urge the people of Porter Ranch to pursue a larger settlement, as this 119.5 million will not last long. That should be as the $3 million will not last long. The 119 million was the whole settlement. It should be, he said 3 million.
Okay.
And then, sorry, just a couple more. Page 5, if you could, at the very bottom, second bullet from the bottom, if you could, you have CS/CS, if you could spell out clean streets, clean starts.
Oh, okay, great.
And then, page 6, it says, regretfully, the note taker could not hear Alex Kim's comments, but I guess we'll have to leave them because Alex isn't here, so.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just
Well,
leave it as this.
but the minutes are reflective of what is said here and that you capture. If you can't capture it, I mean, it's not gonna, there's no need for a commentary in a minute.
So just delete that?
Delete that sentence.
Okay.
We have the year.
And next on page 7, under the Wilbur Tampa Park, and Brandy can help me on this. It's the second bullet. It says, in response to Brandy's query, the only handicapped accessible swings will be the baby buckets. I think what he said was, in response to Brandy's query, no handicapped accessible swings will be, what do you call it? The baby buckets are not handicapped accessible, right?
Yeah, those, I mean, they're fine for babies, but.
Right,
yeah,
so I think what it meant should say is, there are no handicapped accessible swings,
But
period.
there will be baby buckets, or you can take baby buckets out.
Yeah.
Wilbur Tampa.
There
Because
will be-
there were 2 parks. One of them they said there weren't, the second one they said there weren't, and then realized, oh, we could add them, so we'll add them. And
Well-
I think that comment was from the first one.
Yeah, it was under Wilbur Tampa Park, yeah.
I don't think they committed to
Yeah, I don't
add.
think
Right,
they
they
it was
didn't. No.
They said they could like consider it.
Yeah.
Parents.
So there will be no handicapped accessible swings.
Period.
I can follow up on that.
There will be baby buckets.
Yeah. And
All right,
that's it.
the important thing is, Francis, are you getting what the gist of this is? Okay. Anything else?
No,
I got one on 6,
Okay.
second bullet point. It's just great, Jason reported that he and his family picked up trash near Braymore Road. That's it.
instead of canyon.
Yeah, it's not a canyon, it's road, that's all. That's a minor one. Oh, you got it right in the next sentence, actually.
Okay. Would you please tell her what page?
It's page 6.
Second bullet point.
Yeah.
On the top.
Instead of Braymore Canyon, it's Braymore Road.
Oh,
Yeah,
Raymore Road.
you have it right in the next sentence, so that's all. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Okay, any public comments on those minutes? All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
I move that we approve the September minutes as listed.
Can I have a second? Motion and second. Call the vote.
All right, David.
Yes.
Hassan?
Abstain.
Susan?
Yes,
Alex is absent. Jason?
Yes.
Andrew is absent. Brandy?
Yes.
Becky? Assad? Gabriel, yes. Hassan?
Yes.
And motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, item 6 is treasurer's report. Hello, our treasurer is not here.
Sneak it up, man.
Andrew got the
We still have money in the account.
We trust you guys.
Item 7,
All right.
What's that?
What's
I
you
think
looking
that's
for?
you.
presentation from representatives of elected
I don't
officials
see any
from
other
city
song,
departments.
song and dance.
Well, if I'd known this was a...
Mike?
Do I really need a microphone? You
No,
guys?
no.
I got my own voice, teaching play my voice. First of all, I'm just really...
Ron?
Oh,
They
Oh,
do
you-
want to
oh,
use
sorry.
You can take it out.
Ron, no 3Ds, okay?
Roque, yours.
Excuse me. Good evening, everybody. I'll start with a little Lou Rawls. You'll never find. I'm just very relieved that the Daniels brought their umbrella because this pesky Port Aransas monsoon weather is crazy. We're so spoiled here in LA, aren't we? I'm Ron. I work with Councilmember Mitch Englander. Anybody know Mitch? Well, at least for the next month. So not a lot to report. Just wanted to come and say hello to you guys. It's always bittersweet for me because I'm jealous of David Balin's hair. And I've long said that if I had that hairline, I would have been a supermodel, first 5'9" supermodel. So, just, a couple things. Obviously, how many of you are aware that Mitch is kind of setting sail and leaving as of January 1st? So that's happening. Been a great guy to work for. It'll always be obviously a product of CD12 and intimately involved with the community, Council District 12. So just to kind of address some of the, concerns and things that have come to our attention, the way it typically works is that the council president, Herb Wesson, I already know, sorry you guys. The council president, Herb Wesson, appoints what's called a caretaker of the council district. Whoever is appointed caretaker, we have no idea who that's going to be. Herb makes that decision by himself. whoever is appointed into that position can't run for office with the thinking that they don't want somebody in there who's going to work for the next 7, 8 months to try to promote themselves. So it's kind of a conflict of interest kind of thing. We don't know who that's going to be. We have no control. We also don't know when the special election is going to be. So that could be, you know, there was anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. Obviously, you don't want to have a council district without representation for 2 years. So I think probably May or June there'll be a special election. What you need to know though is that our team, we really take pride in our team. We've got, you know, I love working with the people we work with. Serving the community. We'll be in place doing the work we do the entire time. We're not going anywhere. We'll be there working with whomever the caretaker is. With a little racing luck, I won't have to work at Starbucks in Porter Ranch. I can, you know, kind of hitch my wagon to whoever wins that special election. So again, we're there. We're doing everything, you know, everything from our Neighborhoods First initiative to our special projects to whatever. All that stuff continues, and that we get to remain friends with the Daniels for at least 6 more months, which is a big deal. So we have our Christmas party. Not Christmas. I got to be, you know, holiday breakfast. Yes, I should know that. Thursday, December 13th, 8 o'clock to noon. You're all welcome to come. It's going to be, you know, it'll be kind of a bon voyage to Mitch, and I'd love to have you all there. Have a full breakfast. They normally let me cook the eggs, but there was some issues last time. Who got sick. No, nobody got sick. Nobody got sick. We're having a caterer coming this time, so it's going to be just a great thing. We'll have a program and some acknowledgments, and be just a nice way to send Mitch on his way. So, what else?
And where will that be?
That's going to be at LAPD, Greg Smith, Devonshire Pals. You guys, you're all kidding. You're right. I just always assume we all.
Parthenia Wilbur.
Parthenia Wilbur, where the metro kind of station is right there, yeah. And we have plenty of parking. We have shuttles if that lot fills up, which it probably will. A lot of RSVPs. So if you have any issues about legislative things, there were some questions about, you know, what if we want to put forth a motion and have, you know, any kind of legislative efforts in the absence of a councilman. The council president typically honors any request we put in and moves the motion through the council process. If any of you know Nicole Burnson, she's still our chief of staff and will be. She's as competent and as capable as anybody, knows everything about the city. She's been, you know, her father was a councilman here for how many years, Judy? 20, 25, something like that. So she knows, I mean, honest to God, she's always the smartest person in the room. She knows everything. So, so that's kind of what's going on, and just I love hanging out with you guys. He always called me the brother he never wanted, his son. So, yes, sir.
But Nicole, when she takes up, if she steps into the position, she can't vote, can she?
No. Whoever the caretaker is cannot vote. Right. They don't sit in the horseshoe, but they.
Would the president be able to take that position?
Yes. Yeah. The president assumes the role of the council person. Okay. Yeah. You know, based on what we want. And you know, this is not anything new. It's not a contentious thing. You know, Herb has always gotten along. They're very, you know, he's council president pro temp, so he's very close with Mitch. You know, he knows the good work we do out here, so he's going to do everything he can to just support the good work we're already doing.
So he'll be juggling two council.
Well, remember, I mean, last time we had this happen with Fuentes at CD 7, he actually assumed the role of caretaker, and he's not going to do that. Even though he assumed it symbolically, he wasn't in the district on a,
sure.
You know, he had his own district, you know, so he had somebody, I forgot who was his appointment, but bottom line is, I mean, aside from Mitch's absence, you're not going to, there's not be any difference at all.
So I think the question really lies for people that are interested, that have been calling the city, is that you mentioned just now that there may be a special election in June or
May or June, yeah.
But then we were geared up to go for election in November 14th.
Right. So the way it works is you would have I mean, typically when this happens, a lot of candidates come out of the woodwork. Sure. So you probably, and you know, to avoid a runoff in November, you would need, or whatever it would be, maybe, you know. The reality is, these elections cost a lot of money.
$2 million.
Right, and so, you know, that's why they're like, well, when do we want to have this? How do we align it in a way that doesn't cost us money, that we save money?
Sure.
So if somebody gets over 50% of the vote in a primary, there's no runoff. But with 10, 15 candidates, the odds of somebody getting over 50% are very challenging. Right. Mitch, when Greg left, had a very crowded the field too, and he I don't say he lucked out, but he was fortunate and he had like 53%, so it was done at that point. So, you know, and that's kind of, you know, there's a lot of talking to who's running and this and that, and so, you know, it'll all kind of, once he makes that public in early January, Herb, then you can file, be public about your candidacy, and so you'll see a meet. You know, the reality is right now, there's no shortage of folks out there, endorsements, money, getting our websites up, and the moment it becomes okay, you're going to see it, you know, you're going to get, you know, flooded. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for helping me with the
Oh, please, was that you? Well, I'm honest, I've lost 37 pounds, please, no applause. And so thank you.
Not tell them how you did that, please, I don't want to hear the 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. I won't go into that. That was when I was drinking at a fundraiser. But, so I can't have any of that stuff, and I love every bit, man, I can live on pizza, but I was getting corpulent, so I lost, I can tell she's just enamored, she's like, really?
Tell me, I'll make sure you get something you need.
No, it's okay. I'm fine. So that's it. Things are good. And again, please don't hesitate to call us at the district office. I'm the district director. You know, that's kind of my bailiwick, my purview. Anything at all, we're still doing our thing. Not everything's funded. It's not like, you know, there's going to be some precipitous drop off when he leaves. Okay, so everything's still good to go. And so that's that.
We got your number.
You got more literally and figuratively. Yes, sir.
So we had a meeting with Jonathan Cotto about the replanting of the trees. You know, we removed the 22 dead trees, and the Urban Forestry Division agreed to do the replacements.
On Tampa.
On Tampa.
Yeah. You guys have been working on it for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, can you help like get this moving
Is it kind of stagnated?
Well, I think Jonathan Cotto was supposed to reach out to Tim Tyson and Urban Forestry, and you know, I haven't really been getting much response. We had a meeting. He told me he was going to do it. I followed up. He didn't. It was. I think. Should we work? Like, well, what is your advice?
My recommendation is on anything at all, just CC me. You know, he's a very competent, talented kid, but he's got a lot on his plate.
Okay.
So, and I'm just kind of ADD.
Should I just forward like the last email?
Yeah, forward stuff to me.
Okay.
Anything in the future, just CC me.
Okay, great.
And, you know, I'll make sure it gets handled. I'm one of those, like, you know, handy guys that's got to handle it right away. You know, I'll call you right back. I'll email you right back. Because I know that if I don't, I'm not that organized. So it's all going to go to hell in a handbasket.
Do it.
Yeah. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Good to see you guys.
Oh, and everybody's invited to our Christmas party.
Hey,
We'll get to that.
Ron?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
He's gonna leave.
Oh, you mean, no.
No, you should.
We'll send it personally.
all right, any other representative?
Can you forward that on to your whole staff and the councilmen? You guys are all invited, of course. Thank you, Brandon.
I'm sorry, Jason, what?
We're inviting all of you guys, Mitch and everybody, to
I
our
know, I'll
party.
be there, man. You guys get me through the end of the year, bro.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, item 8, NC budget advocates. I don't think there's a budget advocate representative here. Okay. Public comments on matters not on the agenda, and I know, Maureen, you bothered to write a card, so I'm going to give you the floor.
I wrote it.
I know, I said you bothered to
Oh,
write it, so
I
I'm
handed it to her.
going to offer the floor to you up front. Why don't you raise that, you know how to raise it?
No.
Does anybody else here? Oh, right.
Oh.
You're a
I was
professional.
waiting for this.
All right.
Okay, I'm just asking that you do something about putting a stop sign on Kirkholm and Reseda, because those cars come flying down Reseda, you know. And that's a crosswalk for kids to cross in the morning to go to school and everything, so anyway, that's all.
Reseda and what?
Kirkholm.
You must have filled out the survey.
For safety reasons.
That was your survey, huh?
Huh? No.
Oh, okay, we got another survey on that.
Oh, no, I
Same
didn't do
request.
Well, just to let everybody know, we've gone down this road a few times, and we've even asked for a traffic study to confirm it. And the explanation that we get, it's the chicken and the egg. The city has to prioritize where they spend their money on stop signs. So the message that we get is that they have a criteria that they look for number of pedestrians crossing a street, and they do the numbers to determine whether this warrants spending money there versus another intersection that has more foot traffic. Or they look for anything on the other side that people need to go to. And so the problem for us is that street is very difficult to cross, so people don't cross it.
Right, exactly.
You know, only the brave in heart cross it. And so,
Nobody crosses it.
and so they look at the traffic and it's low cross traffic, and so we get caught into this cycle of, well, you don't have enough pedestrian traffic to bother spending money on a stop sign, which is bogus because Chimeneas, right next to it, got 2 stop signs and it barely has any traffic. So,
But can I say one thing
Go
on
ahead.
that? Because the issue is, and it's similar to what happens around Castle Bay, where you have the drop-off hours and you have the pickup hours, and when they're taking their kids to the preschool right there on the corner, that's when they're doing it, is at specific hours. So, you know, and it's not a heavily traveled road by pedestrians. So it requires some kind of an exception scenario to be looked at. Based on, you know, that's
well,
my...
you know the letter that we got a letter from the department explaining what they've done and that there isn't enough traffic to warrant the stop sign.
So maybe we can reply to that letter.
Kirkholm and Reseda.
Basically, Ron, if you go up Reseda,
Yeah.
from Rinaldi to Cessna, there's not a single stop sign unless you get all the way to the top just before
So that's
Cessna.
just east of Castle Bay Lane, kind of, sort of, right?
It's a Casper Lane all
So
the way
it's
down.
like a speedway.
Exactly.
People come from the top of where Braymore is and down that hill
Yeah.
to Cessna, and they zoom, I mean, they're going 90 miles an hour sometimes.
Who's the letter from in that city?
Mr. What's
Ken
his name?
Perusman.
Kenny Carusi. Ken's great usually, man. He's, you know.
But it's by the numbers, so
Well,
we need somebody.
It's that, and they're always looking through the lens of, is there, you know, because they don't want you to make a request, something tragic to happen, and litigating, because, you know, I mean, 80% of his job is dealing with litigation as a result of placement of a decision or a stop sign, or, I mean, so they always err to the side of caution, you know, so, but.
But we would think a side of caution would include a stop
Doesn't
sign.
sound like, that's what I'm saying, it doesn't sound, it doesn't sound consistent.
Didn't somebody get hit? Had like
That's what
somebody
I'm
got...
saying, yeah.
Somebody
Somebody
died.
They race down.
If you could get somebody to get hit. you
Somebody
get
got,
a stop
no,
sign.
somebody got killed.
Somebody got killed. He was crossing
This year, wasn't it?
away from an intersection, a 60-year-old man, and he just didn't run
It was
fast
this
enough.
year, right?
Here?
This was last year,
Last year.
on Reseda, just north of
Where would you-
Oh,
where would
but it
you-
was
where
way
would the
down
stop sign
there.
go? Just
When
anywhere?
we tried to get.
Are there cross streets?
Yeah.
On the school in Herman.
Send me an email
Yeah,
about
they
it.
told us the fact that 2 children had gotten hit wasn't enough, that you had to have at least 1 child die or 5
How
children
sweet
hit.
is that?
What do you want, Gabriel?
So,
Can the safety committee reply to that letter?
Or just send, you know, maybe send me a copy of that and just
Or
send
work
me
with
an
Ron.
email. I'll talk to Ken and get kind of the, you know, the.
He's the chair.
bottom line.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, you know Ken, right?
Yes.
You work with Ken all the time.
you have the letter that we got,
Ken's a
right?
very, very capable guy.
All right.
Thank
Simone,
you.
we even initiated a discussion. How about
Thank
that? Any other public comment? I have Rosario. I assume this is a public comment, not about a
Yes.
specific item, because you didn't mark it for public
It's
comment.
public comment.
I just want to make sure. Okay, please, come on up to the mic.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Rosario Carrillo. I am a resident at the Tesoro Senior Apartments. And first of all, I'd like to say that I'm here to talk about an item related to a search campaign at the apartments. We have 312 units, about 450 residents, just at Tesoro, and then next door, we share a gate with Ventana. It's also a senior rental community. And next to that, there's another Chappelle community. And so, because of the Woolsey fire, we were highly motivated as seniors and with low mobility or no mobility and their caretakers, we were highly motivated to initiate CERT at our community. So we're very excited. And right away, I know this council, they're very good, they're very active. And I've been to a couple meetings before, and I've met Susan. And so right away I emailed, and my goodness, folks, right away I got a response. And I said, can you help us? This is what we're trying to do, is to really provide disaster preparedness for these seniors who are very vulnerable. And Mr. Jason Hector, on his weekend, and again, folks, these are all volunteers, right? He came within hours. So first of all, I want to say thank you very much for that, and I think he deserves a round of applause on behalf of the seniors.
Sorry, next January.
So very, very grateful. And so we initiated CERT, and just a few weeks ago, since then we have had numerous meetings at our facility. We have a large clubhouse, and in this clubhouse we have several rooms, and one's a huge giant activity room, and there's a conference room and whatnot. But yeah, the meeting that you came to, you got to meet some of those residents and their needs, and he heard their concerns. They looked quite panicked because the fire was right on our tail that weekend. So one of the things that they asked for was emergency kits, because we were promoting all of our residents to be prepared with emergency kits and so forth and so on. I'm sure you all thought about all this with the Woolsey fire. So, but we found out in talking with our management and our residents and all the groups that meet at the clubhouse, that some residents don't even have the ability to grab a bag and put stuff in the bag for the emergency kit for their household. So then we said, okay, what do we do with you? And we said, okay, well, we'll brainstorm and see what we can do. There we have, I'll just give you, I'll paint one picture for you. We have Tommy and Brenda. Brenda's the sister, Tommy's the brother, and she's the caretaker, and she has low mobility. He's in a wheelchair, and he can't hold his head up. So he can talk a little bit and he can listen, but he can't even hold his head up. So that just gives you a picture of what some of our residents face. And we're very fortunate that I live there with my mom, and that I have some time on my hands as a resident volunteer to help on some of these matters. I'm a former professor, so I'm helping as best as I can with the resources that I have at my disposal. But anyhow, we have now, I'm happy to report and update you, we have met numerous times, and we have an interest from Ventana as well as other Chappelle properties to continue with this CERT effort. And we're calling it Treasure at CERT. I don't know if you're familiar with CERT. CERT is a FEMA-approved nationwide program that stands for Community Emergency Response Teams. Because why? Close to 90% of victims in a disaster are not saved by first responders. They are saved by
Their neighbors.
your neighbor. So in our community, that was like really interesting for us, because we're all dealing with, I have my mom in a walker. and so we had to pool our resources and our heads together. So we've had numerous meetings. We now have a steering committee. It's called the Movers. Those of us who can move. And we're active. And then we also have a senior advisor. And we're making great progress. We also met with Catherine Barker's office, and we've been in contact with other officials for support. And so today specifically, and are there any questions about CERT in our campaign?
If we can
Before I move on to the specific item?
get to the point that if there's something you'd like from us,
Yeah.
let us know.
Well, I just wanted to make sure to give you an introduction to what I'm representing, if you will. So, was there a question?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we are hosting the series of trainings for CERT, and you're all welcome to come at our large activity room. The city is posting it. this week, and it's going to start the first Friday of March, and it's going to go consecutively each Friday to the end of April, April 12th. Okay. It's at Tesoro Senior Apartments, and it's going to be Fridays from 1 to 3 p.m. And it's going to be posted on Eventbrite through the city. Okay?
Open to anyone or just seniors?
It is open to the public, but of course the seniors will be signing up right away. Yeah. Yeah, and there's just, so yeah, if you're interested, feel free to sign up. There should be plenty of room because the activity room is.
We can help you promote that through our newsletter, our e-blast, our newsletter goes out to 20,000 people. So.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I have to connect with you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Okay, so I just wanted to share these bits because what we're envisioning is we are going to be the leaders of CERT in Porter Ranch. So we're not.
All right.
Thank you.
You like that? You guys like that? So we're.
How our committee doing it?
We're definitely coordinating with the existing disaster preparedness at Northridge, you know, the fair that they hold at the Fashion Center, yeah. But in Porter Ranch, I think we're going to be well represented with CERT as we move forward.
Sounds like you have new committee members.
I'm sorry?
All right.
I was saying, sounds like he has a new committee member because he does the safety.
We are the committee, not Jason.
No, not me.
That's
Assad,
not-
can you
Assad,
introduce her and when the meeting
Assad,
is?
David, and Gabriel. So,
These are the gentlemen who are on our safety committee.
Oh,
and we're the ones do search. I'm level 2, and Gabriel is training soon.
wonderful.
And we're coordinating, yeah.
Oh, I'm very happy.
And she's level 1.
That's wonderful. Very nice to meet you all.
All right.
Okay, so that's the 3 committee members, safety?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so specifically today, the ask is this.
Can you make it quick?
Yeah, I want you to tell me the time allotment, so I didn't know.
I know, I didn't
Do I have a
do that.
minute?
It's usually 2 minutes. and
Okay, well, I didn't know.
We're doing good on time, but I.
Okay, I'm moving along. So specifically today, I brought you a proposal and copies, specifically for these emergency kits that Jason and I started talking about by email and in person. And it specifies 4 items with the quantity, the cost. Now these items were recommended specifically by LAC CERT. So it's not something that I just pulled out of my, my old hat. This is coming from LA City CERT, Randall, and approved by our steering committee, the movers. And so it includes CERT Kit Pro 2 backpacks, and it tells you here, specifies what it includes. And we are asking 1 per building because again, we have 4 buildings. We're asking for other items, and I'm happy to pass this through, and you can tell me how you want to proceed.
Okay. You can pass it out.
Pass it out?
To the
Okay.
board.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Just so you know, we can't vote on anything today because something that involves money has to go on the agenda.
Right.
So that wouldn't be until at least January.
Okay.
So just so you know, we're not
Right.
legally able to vote on anything right now.
And I was told that specifically that I needed to talk to the safety committee, so that's why I'm happy to meet you, Assad, Gabriel, and David. And if you have any questions, I came today to answer.
So we can work on helping you to provide a neighborhood purpose grant, because that would, we'd have to fill that out to bring it to the board to justify anything coming out of the board.
Right, and that's why I had asked previously in emails if there was a grant application that I needed to fill out before coming today,
Are they 401c?
so that,
501c? Well, that's, okay.
If not, we can find.
There's a lot of procedural things that need to happen. This doesn't happen this way. So I'm sorry that you didn't have all this information.
right.
Okay,
That's okay. I know you're volunteers, so you didn't have a chance to
No,
respond to my
It's
emails.
not that, we are part of the city, there are city processes
Right.
that need to be complied with
Right.
to do anything like this. So
Right.
this is a public comment period, so we've taken your comment.
Right.
We're going to consider it.
Uh-huh.
We will be in touch with you outside the meeting.
Right.
To see if there's anything that can be done.
Right.
And it will come back to the board at the January meeting if there is anything that can be done.
Okay,
Okay?
will you let me know if you need an application or anything else?
We will communicate
Okay.
with you on everything that we would need. if
Wonderful.
We can do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All All right, any other public comment? We have new faces in the room. That's exciting.
Welcome.
All right. Scary. Board member reports and comments. I'm going to start with...
So I know somebody sent out an email to the board about the styrofoam thing, and they wanted us to do a community impact statement. We've been saying we want to do more community impact statements. I'm looking into it to see if that's something we'd have to do before the January meeting. If it is, then I guess I'd ask to see if you guys are interested in doing a special meeting to approve a community impact statement or not. That's my name. Oh, and the holiday party stuff I'll talk about later. There's a lot of that.
Talk about later when?
When it's on the agenda.
For that agenda. Okay. Anything else on outreach?
That's the main thing right now.
All right. Okay.
Nothing on mine.
One important item which is we've been getting from the LAPD advice is the holidays are coming, don't leave anything in the cars, make your cars sure everything locked. Watch out for the people who's going just ringing bells trying to figure out if there's anybody in the house and all that. December is one of those months that attracts everybody for crime, so just be observant and be safe and happy holidays.
Hassan?
Thank you. Same email I saw and Brian brought it out about the styrofoam. I think it's very important for us to make a statement. There's been a lot of published articles lately about the possible health hazards. Forget about landfills and the fact that styrofoam never really decomposes. It takes, many years for it to decompose it ever. So just because of the health part, I think we should really take a position on it. Not that we don't have enough tissues in this community, but this is one thing that we do have a power to impact something on that. So.
Yeah, I'd like to address the community. We had Councilman Englander put on a kind of a small town hall to discuss the park and the naming of the park and naming of the pavilion. We had quite a few stakeholders that showed up. They did agree. We had Parks and Recs there, and they agreed. It was kind of a last minute, so there were some people that were upset, but Councilman Englander did a great job informing the community of how the procedure went and why it was named the way it was named. And that was back on the 16th of this month. The pavilion is still going to be under Englander's Pavilion. There is still discussion regarding the park. And so there will be one more meeting coming up. I know that there was a meeting slated for the 26th, but they had changed that. So if you have any input on what you feel, because they're looking for input from the stakeholders on what the naming of the park should be.
This park or that park?
The new park, 50-acre plus.
Mason, what did they name this one?
Well, this one is, at the time, it was named before Parks and Recs stopped it, was Bloom Park, which Councilman Englander.
You're talking about the new one that's being
The new one.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah, so are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about 18 Park.
We're not changing that. They're going to keep that for a while. So there's this discussion because Parks and Recs felt there wasn't enough outreach to the community for input, so they're going through all of the due diligence for the community. So if you have any interest in speaking on it, when the next meeting comes, they're going to be holding it at Mason Park. Stop in, say hello. And I know probably Councilman Englander will be there again. And if he's still there.
Postscript.
If not, Ron will be there.
I'll be there, yeah. Rubine Park.
That's right. Rubine Park, there you go. So, just to give you the heads up on that. I hope I'm moving down on the 16th. That's it. Jason?
All right. Yeah, I was up on Braymore, and I'm proud to announce, did you notice? Our neighbor here on Braymore, so we finally got Braymore Road addressed. So first phase was picking up trash. Clean Streets, Clean Starts guys helped a lot. I was out there this morning, got about 8 bags and shovels, and it's been quite the process, but we had a lot of success. The wind was really holding us back, but they were able to get the fire hydrants painted over there, also along the top part of Tampa. The trash cans, those green trash cans that are all rusted out from Rexham Parks there, got those painted. it really looks nice. Really looks nice. So we're very excited about that. Hold on, Mr. Vince.
There's a few people that don't know anything about Clean Street, Clean Start.
Oh, she's going to cover that. Okay. She's on. Wait. Islam's going to cut me off. So as far as I want to make a comment, I did attend the meeting at Tesoro, and I made a lot of friends at Tesoro when I was relocated during the gas fiasco. And they're a very vulnerable community, and I know that I mentioned that our surveys said that we want to see more spending on safety issues. So I hope the safety committee can find a way to make this happen. And just so you understand, we can give things away, in certain respects, but we have constraints on the way we can't just say, oh, we're going to give this group of people something. So there's some challenges that we as a city entity face in helping you. But neighborhood purpose grant is for nonprofits. That's one way people come and ask us for money. But there's a lot more logistics to it, but I think it's a great idea, because some people can't make it to the disaster preparedness fair, like these, instances. So if we can find a way to help the people who can't put these kits together, maybe they can't afford it. These are people in Porter Ranch. This is our neighborhood here.
Can
So
I make a suggestion?
let me finish. Oh, go ahead.
On this
Oh, yeah.
one
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I'm
topic,
sorry.
just on this one topic.
Sure.
We should cash in some of our favors with the the North Foundation and ask them to donate.
You mean like the Preparedness Foundation?
Yeah. We've provided funding to the fair 2 years in a row that we've been on the board.
Right. So that's a connection
It's
for
their
her.
job to help with these things. Let's lean on them to provide the kits.
Yeah. I mean, I'm basically pushing it to safety because I don't want to step on their...
But you know the
You're
rules.
stepping.
You know the rules. Our hands are tied unless it's a registered organization.
Right.
Absolutely, hands are tied. So we can help them with the people that have the kits and have them donate them as opposed to, having to buy them. So that's my suggestion.
Well, suggested to the safety committee.
Well, you're speaking on our behalf, so.
No, I'm just trying to say I think it's a good idea to do because, it is a difficult situation. But it's not something that is under my domain as safety, but I did enjoy meeting the folks over there. I wanted to mention, I saw that are they trimming trees along Tampa? I'm not sure if there's any. Did anybody notice that some tree trimming going on?
They were doing it in front of the real estate office
The
as
city?
well as...
But the city? I don't know. I thought that they had started that. So also ET Park is fenced off right now. It looks like they're starting up there. A couple things on the schools. Castle Bay is doing one-to-one iPads. They got funding for that. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on there. And that's pretty much the gist of my comments.
Okay, Susan?
Okay, I have sustainability and homelessness solutions. So for sustainability, we met in November and I did a presentation on Aliso Canyon and climate change. I'm a climate reality leader, so if anybody ever wants a presentation on climate change, please contact me. We're not going to be meeting in December. We'll meet again in January. And I am pretty well versed on the styrofoam issue, so I'm going to look up the council file and see what the date is. If we have some time, we'll meet the third Tuesday in January in sustainability, discuss it then. If it's got to be earlier than that, then we'll have to have another discussion. But yes, there are carcinogens inside styrofoam cups, and of course they never break down. They have been found in the circulatory system of sea animals. So there's a push to ban them outright. Homelessness solutions. So we met in November, we're not going to meet in December, but Clean Streets, Clean Starts is the program that we funded as a board. They are a nonprofit, and that is where we take individuals experiencing homelessness and they clean our streets, they clean our fire hydrants. They are, for the work, on Mondays and Wednesdays, they are given a food, like a gift card to Walmart that can be only used for food and bus tokens, and then that is our opening to try to get them into the system and try to get them housing. Right now I'm working with a brother and sister. They have a Section 8 county voucher. I'm working with them to try to find them housing in the county, not the city. It's a real challenge because they give out these Section 8 vouchers, but there's no guarantee there's a landlord that will take them. So that's kind of the process where when they're homeless individuals, we bring them in, we give them a, if they're ready, we give them a hand up, to help them back into the system and back into getting a job. Around this time of year, I have these cards here. Around this time of year, we see a lot of people starting to panhandle in some of our shopping centers. If they have a child, okay, and they're saying, homeless, I have a child, please give them this card. They can call the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission, and they will be taken in. Okay, they have openings there. If you are truly homeless and you have children, they will take you in. So some people are concerned that, well, they're not really homeless, they're faking it. I don't know, but I always give them the benefit of the doubt and say, this is where you can get help. And that is better than giving them money or anything else, this is where you can get help. So there's a stack of cards here if you want to come and get these. Also, there's 2 cards. If you see someone with mental health issues, there's a mobile triage team from LA County Health you could call. And then also, obviously, if it's a medical emergency, if somebody's passed out, you call 911. But these are ways to help when you see individuals, in our community. Again, people move around. The homeless individuals move around. It's not like they're in one place. They all move around. But we do outreach. We're getting to know them. We get to know their name and what their situation is. So we're always here, ready to help and give them a hand up when they're ready to take it. Yes.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
I want to suggest something.
Yes.
And I really hope you take it into consideration. Right now, the LA Times is going through daily series about homelessness, and especially homeless LAUSD students. I think what you described to me about going through the process of the Section 8 housing with that couple, and how you, an educated person who's got all her faculties, struggle to work through that process.
And still
what do
struggling.
they expect out of someone who doesn't have a place
And no
to set
vehicle
a paper
to drive.
on, and write on it?
Right.
If I would seriously consider, ask you to write a little op-ed for the LA Times about the process that you went through, so people understand, in spite of all the things that are out there, they don't make them easy for people to take advantage of.
Right.
And it needs to be, light needs to be shined on this challenge.
Right.
And you went through it with that couple, you
Still
learned
going
a lot.
Yeah.
Tell people about it.
Yeah, their voucher may expire. And
Yeah.
that's it, they're done.
They're only good 4 months, aren't they?
They're done, yeah. So I'm driving them around. Oftentimes you have to go in person to do the application. And obviously they're homeless, they have no car, so I drive them around. So people make these assumptions like, well, why don't they just get Section 8 housing? I'm telling you, even when they have an advocate like me, it is a struggle. It is a struggle.
It took me 10 years to get my son on Section 8.
People don't know that, so
People don't know that, so yes, I will write the opt-in.
But what about your struggle when they don't want to be in a certain area that you find a spot for them?
Well, we're still working through that. I mean, there's also struggles that they have, it's called an Obama phone. So when you see homeless individuals with a phone, it's not because they're faking it. It's because they got a phone through a government program, so they can have a phone when a landlord calls them and said, oh my gosh, I had somebody move out, can you have Section 8 housing? So they can, but here's the challenge, is the batteries go low, they may be chased out of Starbucks or wherever they want to charge it. I mean, there's so many challenges that we don't think about because we take all of this for granted. So they do get phones, a free phone from a program, it's a prepaid phone, but that is so they have a lifeline too. If an employer calls them up, if they put in an application of Burger King, where are they going to call? They have to have a cell phone to get a job, to get housing, to get all of those things. So that's where you see individuals that are homeless with a phone. They're trying to get out. That's the only way they can. Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you for that work. It's important work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, I got something for you to do. I'll do that.
Okay, sorry, I forgot one thing, but thank you for reminding me. So just to notice for everybody, when you mentioned stamps for the holidays, there was one that started at the end of last year that's picking up speed again. people are sending out fake package tracking emails. So it looks like something you get from UPS or FedEx or whatever with a tracking number telling you to click to see where your package is, and it's just a phishing scam, and they're wanting you to click on that so they can steal your information. So if you get an email that looks like you've got a package on its way, maybe it says lost or on its way generally, don't click on it until you look at the email, look at the address, and make sure it is from UPS, it is from FedEx, and check to see if there's anything else on there. So be very careful. If you can, see who sent it and double check they actually sent you a package. So be careful these days.
All right, a few updates from me. You all saw the response from the PUC to the letter that we sent. That was actually the second response. There was an initial response, that was an email response that was pretty insulting. I would characterize it that way, but that's just me. Nonetheless, that response has been filed on the proceeding that's online, so it'll be up sometime soon. But the letter that we received officially from the PUC is on our website. Everybody has access to that. It doesn't really do much, but it acknowledges the things that we've asked for, that we've commented. And I've had other meetings that I'm not going to get into right now. We had 2 meetings of 2 committees. One of them is the Elections Committee. The elections are coming up in 2019. We will be having monthly meetings until our function is done and our job is done in terms of getting ready for the elections. The elections for the board for 5 open seats will be in May. I remember May 4th, but I think it's in May. That's the bottom line. And the city has a fairly well streamlined process for all the things that need to happen every month as we prepare for the elections. So the job of the Elections Committee is to do everything we can to put the word out and organize ourselves and help both candidates and stakeholders be engaged in the process of running and voting. And so we will be sending updates through our email e-blast about the function of the elections and the Elections Committee. And so we had one meeting. We're going to hold our next meeting very soon. I'm still trying to get the schedule worked out with Susan and Brandy for the Elections Committee. And then the rules and bylaws, and that's myself, Susan, and Assad. And we had a first meeting, and we just discussed the things in our bylaws that we really should think about how to change them. And so we're going to be working through those quietly and diligently until we come up with a set of standing rules as well as bylaws changes that we bring to the board for discussion and for approval or changes. So we'll keep working on those. And that's all the updates I have. All right. So with that, we are at a break time, 10-minute break. It's 7:20. We'll start at 7:30. All right, everybody. Item 11. It's Randy.
Yep. Find all my paperwork. Okay, so holiday party. I will start. Here somewhere. I'll start with the unfortunate news, which is that the choir, which agreed to sing for us, ended up having a conflict of interest for that name, so they could not do it.
You mean conflict?
Conflict of schedule, sorry. I did say conflict of interest. Conflict of schedule, they couldn't do it. Yeah, conflict of interest, they hate us now. They're morally opposed to it. Yeah, conflict of schedule, so apparently that's their dress rehearsal for their main thing in Beaker. But on that note, they did say they're really hoping we can find something else that we could use them for this coming year between February and May. And I'm thinking, I wonder if we could do a really awesome election event. But that's just a thought. Or, you know, the Earth Day or something.
Earth Day songs.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, found my paperwork. So, I had intentionally asked for a significantly larger budget than I've actually got paperwork for, because you might decide that I'm not asking for enough food and want to like double it, in which case I would have to come back to the board.
Right.
This way I don't, you can just decrease the amount of money you give me. So what we've got is the same jazz band that was requested by the community. They're $400 for the night. And I've got an outlay of lots of things, from cakes, supplies like cups, plastic, cups, napkins, all that stuff. Drinks, cookies, snacks. So that's all in there. And then the main catering, the main event. So the food we looked at what we had last year, and it was just too expensive for what everybody said they wanted to spend this year. But thanks to Jason and his great idea, we got Pagoda Inn to do a catering deal for us. So it would be chicken chow mein, pagoda fried rice, orange chicken, cashew chicken, eggplant mushroom, beef with broccoli, the Buddha's feast, egg rolls that they're giving us on the house for doing this. All of that with the recommended amount, which is about food for 100, comes to a grand total with tax of $806.35 for that. If 100 people isn't enough people, they've also broken it down so we could add more food. So, grand total of everything from supplies, entertainment, and catering comes out to $2,506.35. You want to
include tip?
I did not put tip in. Don't think I put a tip in.
Can we tip?
I don't know, well, no, don't we normally do that
We
ourselves?
can't. City allows us up to 15%.
Oh, so we can add a 15%.
We can.
Okay.
For the food.
So 15 is 800. Yeah. So you can approve 3,500, so I have a giant buffer in case something blows up, or you can decrease it to closer to what the actual number is and what I've broken out. It's up to you guys.
So who does get the 2546?
What?
Okay, as you know, we don't print the backup detail in the item for the left. So
here.
that anyone who wants to know the details, we're gonna pass the packet around so you see it.
And it was posted online with the materials.
Yeah, it's.
I know, I saw it.
It's like. There's like, that's the first page, and then there's a few pages afterwards.
Can I ask you a question? As far as the food menu or selection, how did we come up with that, just solely on the price?
So Outreach Committee looked at the menu and decided what we thought would be popular, as well as ensuring there was a vegetarian and vegan option for everybody, with a broad selection that might be kid-friendly and not kid-friendly. And then we talked to them and they said this is how much these would be, what we recommend for amounts. And then they gave us a deal of like, I think all the egg rolls are free.
Yeah, I think we picked like one beef, one chicken, fried rice, you know.
So was there an option B, like other than Chinese food? Just asking.
Well, the other option was more than $3,500.
The other option I looked at was the San Carlo Deli, which, if you're familiar with, they're in Chatsworth. They have different pasta dishes, salad dishes.
But we did not get information from them in time for the
Last year we had,
Fireside?
no, Firestone.
Firestone,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Stonefire.
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 Between all of us, we'll figure it out.
The dyslexic Stonefire.
That was too expensive for us.
The Stonefire was expensive because they have staff that serve, and I think that was how much, 1,400, 13?
I don't have the numbers.
But that's not even,
But we were not more than 3,500 last year.
I think last year we spent like 1,400 on Stonefire, but we were anticipating it being more expensive because I think when we went back to this year, right, didn't they say it was gonna be more than last year?
Yeah, so it was also the factor that your wife is very good at negotiating and got us a deal for last year that I'm not able to secure, on
Yeah.
top of prices of everything have gone
No,
up.
the good thing about the choice that you have is that this is a business in Puerto Rico, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Which we went for intentionally.
And yeah, I did look at San Carlo. They have really great food, but Brandy felt like this would be a better option, more diverse selection of
More
food
kid-friendly.
rather than strictly Italian, which is a lot of like pastas and carbs and things like that. But it wasn't really necessarily more expensive to do San Carlo. It was about the
Right.
same. So now it's in the board's hands to kind of guide.
Yeah, there it is.
We've presented, those are the three options, so the Stonefire, San Carlo, and the Pagoda.
Yeah, and this is the only one I have the actual information breakdown and agreement from.
Yeah, but San Carlo is online, and it's roughly the same.
I'm just saying, Esam said I had to have an agreement from them for the catering thing. It's
Right.
the only one we have that for.
I mean, again, there's no right choice or wrong choice.
Right.
It's a good choice, it's a local choice. Other local choices, probably, but, we don't need to spend a lot of time shopping around on this. If, this is the recommendation of the outreach committee. As a board, we can decide if we are approving that, moving forward with that program, or if we'd like to ask for something and just move on. So,
I'd like everybody to keep in mind, it's the 28th and this is on the 12th.
Yeah.
So-
I think we need to vote on the amount and let outreach do their thing. I think she's in control. That's why we put her as chair.
I agree. So, with all this, any reason not to make a motion right now? Anybody wants to say something first?
Well, I don't know if you want to talk about, we do need help, we do need volunteers. I don't know, do you want to talk about the additional things?
Sure, I mean, we would like to have all the board volunteer. I'm gonna send out a doodle poll like I did for the last event, asking for time slots that you guys can sign up to help. Mostly it's gonna be cleanup and setup. I've had stuff with the community and people that are stepping up. The big thing is, of course, decorating in the beginning and breakdown and cleanup. There's possibilities because we're not getting servers, because this will be more buffet style. Having somebody, which will probably be me, watching to make sure that if this tray goes empty, to replace it. But since that's probably not going to be a big deal if we go with this recommendation.
We also should make a conscious effort to have somebody watching out for sanitary conditions.
Yeah.
If we have an unattended table and there are kids around,
Yeah.
people will grab things out of trays.
Right.
You've got to have someone's job to watch out for people's hands to stay out
Yep.
of food.
I'd like to make a recommendation.
Yep.
My recommendation is, the council puts on their breakfast every year, and they participate by feeding the community that shows up. So we might want to split up little shifts, 4 and 5 or whatever, and do the same. Throw on our plastic gloves and feed the community
I like that.
and serve.
I like that.
I think it would be great,
Yeah.
but we would
can put
need
shifts.
full commitment for shifts.
Yeah, I'll put up a doodle poll and see how many of you actually step up, in which case, yay, otherwise it's
David's
me.
already stepped up.
Absolutely.
But we can also-
Yeah, David's already stepped
But we
up.
can also
Sir.
include stakeholders who are
Nothing better
willing
than
to step up
service.
and do the same.
So, good, I'm in.
All right.
I will be able to hold board members' feet to the fire easier than stakeholders.
So we can e-blast for stakeholders to volunteer?
Yeah, I've already put up on
Yes.
Facebook, people to respond.
We do need, by the way, while you're
Yes.
purchasing, we need gloves.
Okay.
So you need to make sure you have sanitary
Fortunately,
plastic gloves.
I have a good buffer in my supplies window, so that can be
But
done.
but is it, you might need to amend the motion or not. So does it-
No, that's why I made
Supplies.
supplies.
Put supplies.
Why I like extended my buffer as far
We're
as
not
I
putting
can.
them out, but for the supplies.
For supplies?
You have the word supplies in there?
Well, I put supplies and I put as
And
an
that's,
example.
and that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Just make sure that you don't have any line item that we pay for that we don't have a receipt for, otherwise
Right.
we'll have trouble.
Itemized receipt, right?
So, with that, can I have a motion?
Am I allowed to make it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, I move to authorize
There's
whatever.
motion text is right on the agenda.
Okay.
I can read it.
Oh, yeah, you read it.
Motion to discuss and approve giving the outreach committee approval to move forward with plans for the holiday party, the PRNC holiday party, with the budget not to exceed $3,500.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any public comment?
You're talking about supplies. You know, every time you bring in the pagoda in, there's never any kind of serving utensils.
Oh, good
So
to
if
know.
you're planning, you know, when it's just the small group
Right.
at the meetings, it's annoying if you're gonna have 100 people or 200 people.
Yeah. No,
Thank
it's
you.
good call.
Serving utensils.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, servers,
I
things
think I've
about
plenty
these
of them.
things, and we gotta think about it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, if no further comment from the board, call the vote.
All right, David,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Alex is absent, Jason,
Yes.
Andrew is absent, Brandy,
Hell yes.
Becky, absent, Assad,
Yes.
Gabriel, yes, Isam,
Yes,
and the motion passes.
thank you. Item number 12, Jason and David.
Yes.
Next one.
Tag
Okay.
team.
I guess I'll read it. Discussion and possible action to approve submittal of letter from PRNC to the Department of Cultural Affairs and others regarding the Porter Ranch Arts Council and Porter Ranch Arts Fund. So, is everybody familiar with the little bit of background with the village development? Back in August, we were attending hearings. I know many of us went to it. One of the issues that we asked for as a neighborhood council was the art fund, which is supposed to be created as part of the development agreement between the developer and the city. And Councilman Englander put a motion through, which is effective December of this year, to create that fund. So that was very good news. I learned about that just recently. And so this letter, essentially there's an ordinance that has passed and the fund is to be created, and we are asking some things from the general manager of the Department of Cultural Affairs, that number one, that the 1% contribution from the interest-bearing Porter Ranch Trust Fund, Art Trust Fund, include any and all commercial developments permits issued after April 18, 1991 within the specific plan area. So this is an important consideration because there's been several developments that have already been built. So this needs to sort of be retroactive when this fund is created. Second point is formation of the Porter Ranch Arts Council must also take place and should include a Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council board member as well as one stakeholder seat for PRNC board to appoint. So we're asking for some representation on this Arts Council. The Arts Council is separate, so that's a separate entity that needs to be formed to manage the funds. So the motion creates the funds, and then we're kind of trying to get ourselves involved in the process with this. And so this is the letter that David and I worked on, and we're sending it to several different entities. We did also take input from Assad, who mentioned to copy the mayor, Deputy City Attorney, Ron Galbraith, etc., councilmen. So that's pretty much it.
There's one more thing that, you know, Jason and I we were on the sleuth hunt for a long, long time, looking for money, looking to where the money was. Where it went. And the other night on the 16th, when Councilman Englander was speaking about the park, he started to also speak about this art fund. And he also spoke about how the money went missing, where some of the money from the Porter Ranch town center was used. He says that their office is trying to get that back. We know that money's been missing for a while, and we were trying to find it as well. So at least it's out and about, so we'll find out where that money is, and hopefully we can get that money back for that town center and put it in the pot with the new Vineyard Shopping Center for the community.
And just to clarify one thing, so there is a development agreement that exists between Porter Ranch Development Corporation and the city. And that development agreement explicitly says that these things regarding this art fund. And that development agreement dates back to like 91. So it's a separate entity than other communities where it goes into a kind of a general pot, a larger pot of money. So for example, a development in another city would go into the general pot, whereas there was a negotiation that took place, stakeholders fought for this. And so this was a public benefit that should have been realized. And we also did research, at one point there was another council file that was created to form this arts council. And when we tried to track down that file, it was missing. And it was supposed to last at the city attorney's office, but the file turned up missing. So it was good to see that Councilman Englander did put forth the motion to get this trust fund set up. So this is a critical time now to address this issue now. So
we want to put that out there.
Okay. So
we give you support.
Any further discussion?
First, I want to thank you for the Land Use Committee. I know this has been like a lot of investigation and time, and I think the letter is written very well and polite, and I know you attached, I think, the actual documentation that you were just talking about, so that's also there. So is that a question? Do we have any idea what 1% of the permit value is?
I mean, so like, if you knew what the permits were, so let's say, for example, the new shopping center is a $100 million center. How much of that is actually spent on permits?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, we don't know.
It could be, I don't know, did John give you any idea? If it's, let's say...
John Love, who heads up Chappelle at this time, he said it's a lot of money. So, he said they've spent a lot of money. And he said he had turned over all that to the councilman's office a while back. So
if it was $1 million, for example, then 1% would be what, 10%? I mean 10,000. 10,000. So, it might be in the tens of thousands.
It's retroactive to 91. That's a lot of
That's what we're hoping to do, is capture is the other town center, this new one. It's within the specific plan area, which is not.
Well, take the medical building.
It's not this side of Porter Ranch.
If you take the medical building itself, I mean, that's...
So there's potentially thousands of dollars, hopefully tens of thousands.
To be utilized for the community, for art.
Hopefully it'll materialize in some fashion. My fear is that the way fiscal years work, they might come back and say, we can't pull money from a fiscal year that's 20 years ago. But we'll have to find out.
Well, Councilman Englander he told the community that his office was looking into it, and they were looking to retrieve it from where it went.
Right. So we are copying the controller, Ron Galbraith, on this for those types of issues. So we have that, his knowledge.
Okay, any more discussion before we make a motion? All right, can I have a motion?
I made it already. I read it.
Let me.
You want to read it again?
Okay. Can I
have a second?
This is stated as a discussion and possible action. There isn't a motion yet.
Okay.
We had a discussion about it.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
We decide if we want to make a motion, that would be the action that is a possibility.
Okay, my mistake. I thought it was.
So, can we have a motion?
All right, I'll do a motion to approve submittal of a letter from the PRNC to the Department of Cultural Affairs and other regarding the Porter Ranch Arts Council and Porter Ranch Arts Fund.
Thank you. Can I have a second, Susan?
Yes.
All right. Any public comment? Yes, ma'am. Please.
I am not part of this area, but I am the vice president.
Homes for sale.
Vice President.
I'm in the valley. I'm the San Fernando Valley Arts Council Vice President. This is an organization that's been around as a nonprofit since the 1970s. and it was created by Department of Cultural Affairs. At that time, its purpose was to help art within the valley to get established or become a fiduciary if you were creating a nonprofit and all those kind of things. So we still have a nonprofit ability to help all of the neighborhood councils when there's where you can't receive the money, we could receive it and spend it, that kind of situation. I've been tracking this for a long time. We've got the same problem going on down at Westfield also, at the village.
Oh, Woodland Hills?
Woodland Hills.
Okay.
And all that change over the years. Where'd the money go? So I'm just here to say, you're not alone. But this is quite unique. But, you know, I'm just here on behalf of the council to say if you need our help, we're here. And I'm from North Hills.
Or what's your name?
My name's Kathy Cryer.
Okay.
And I own a store also in Northridge called the Great Frame Up.
Oh, nice.
So I'm very involved with the arts, and I would love to see, besides this little thing go on, you have to also think bigger in that once the center's built, and you have your community center and your gatherings and marketplaces and things, you've got to have a coordinator and those kind of things between everybody. So we're here to help.
Thank you.
Do you have a card? Yeah.
Yes.
I read the letter online, but it's been several days and I don't remember the exact wording. But you might consider making sure that you don't say that the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council should have one person on the board. You want to say at least one or minimum of one, because you don't at some point want somebody to say, well, there's one person from the council, you can't have any others, or if there aren't other people in the community who are interested and there are spots that somebody from the council could fill and other people aren't interested in, that you can't add another person.
Any other public comment? Okay. Would the author like to amend the motion to insert the word at least?
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Great suggestion, thank you.
So it would fall on page 2. It's a little down the 4th paragraph. Number 2, formation of the Porter, let me know when you're ready. Are you good? Okay, so it's, I have the 2 bullet points there. PRNC kindly requests the following. 1, so on number 2, formation of the Porter Ranch Arts Council must also take place and should include, and then we're going to put at least 1, and then remove A, and then Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council board member, and then where it says as well as, and then we're going to insert at least 1. So you're going to insert at least 1 stakeholder seat for PRNC board to appoint. So there's 2 changes.
All right. So with that amended,
I don't know if it would be PRNC board to appoint, because it would be the art council to appoint.
So meaning, well, like kind of
these are members onto the Arts Council.
right.
So the idea is for the PRNC to nominate 1 or more stakeholders to serve on the Arts Council.
Yeah, just like when we had the health study thing, and they said, hey, you guys pick
Nominate. Yeah.
nominate.
Yeah, of course. I was just thinking that, well, if they want to come back and change it, then we should.
Oh, they did. You want to hold that? All right, so with that,
Any other
board comment?
I haven't been able to find the letter.
It's
The
on
letter is in this time,
Oh, in this guy.
and in that one too, but it's in this time. It's the page after the motion.
It's like the 5th page or something.
There. Okay?
It's a long letter.
So we gotta go, so we have an amendment.
I second it, and then we'll switch up.
Oh, you made it, Susan seconded it, I thought.
All right, so we have an amended motion and a second on the amended motion, Susan?
Yes.
All right.
Second.
No further discussion, call the vote.
All right, David.
Absolutely, yes.
Hassan?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Alex is absent. Jason?
Yes.
Andrew is absent. Randy?
That's fine.
Abstain. Becky is absent. Assad?
Abstain.
Abstain. Gabriel, yes. Isam?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. Next item is item 13. Susan.
Okay, discussion and possible action for the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council to formally agree to be a member of the West Valley Alliance for Homelessness Solutions with one or more members of the PRNC Homelessness Solutions Committee serving as representatives of PRNC. As a member of this alliance, we give our permission to utilize the PRNC logo for West Valley Alliance for Homelessness Solutions flyer and events. So the idea behind this is we all have the homeless issue in all of our neighborhoods, and rather than each Homelessness Solutions Committee, doing their own thing and being isolated, we thought it'd be good to get us all together and work together, do best practices, exchange ideas. And for instance, this Saturday in the Woodland Hills Chamber of Commerce building in the Westfield Mall, from 1 to 3, we're going to have, it's called an open house. And that's where members of the public can come and see what services are available to those experiencing homelessness. So it's just a loose alliance structured on like the Valley Alliance of Neighborhood Councils, just a very loose alliance, or like the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, where again, we all get together and share ideas for the common cause. And again, we need permission from our neighborhood council, from me or some other member of the Homelessness Solutions Committee to go to these meetings, when we have an educational event, to put our logo on the flyer. So that's what this is all about.
Okay. Randy?
Couple things. So it's no longer, the name is not West Valley Alliance for Homelessness Solutions. It's West Valley Neighborhood Alliance on West Valley Neighborhood Alliance on Homelessness. Second, so just say, instead of just saying flyers and events, I'm also going to put the logo on the website. So I'm part of this too. I'm doing the flyers and the website and all that. So our logo will be well handled.
I assume that came as a request specifically from them.
No,
So what's the question?
No, we received a communication with the specific motion language.
Right.
You wrote that.
Right.
About the permission for the use of the logo.
Yeah.
Did Tom write this?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe it changed since I first.
And that's fine, but all I'm saying is that's where it came from.
Okay, so Tom probably sent out the same motion he put on his back when it was called this.
Correct.
And before we had the website.
Right.
Okay, so for our motion,
I need to
it
amend
needs to be the correct name needs to be there, and it needs to be just approves use of logo.
Right.
Not for, just say approve use of logo. Do you want to
utilize the PRNC logo?
It needs to be within the context of what we're approving.
Right.
This function. It's not a free rein of using the logo anything we want.
Well, what we were trying to say is that, we're both on the alliance as your representative liaisons for homelessness. So we need to have this be approval of that organization using it, not
use of the
just.
logo for outreach purposes, that's fine. Just
Yeah, okay,
things like
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
something within, define what it's being used for.
Okay. Not to sell coke or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
For outreach purposes, that's fine. But those are the two things I want
to amend. Okay.
So we're going to reread the amended motion, so please keep note of it, Susan.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to reread it. But before then, any other comments from the board for the discussion purposes?
This is a good group.
No more discussion, okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Okay, I move that the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council give permission to, okay, whatever.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I move that the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council formally agree to give the West Valley Neighborhood Alliance on Homelessness permission to utilize the PRNC logo for outreach purposes.
No, there's a joining part of the motion.
To join.
To join, oh, and
Yes.
to join.
It's,
Oh.
look at the motion.
Do I have to just, okay.
So I meant the wording of the motion
Join
to
first.
fit the changes that you proposed.
Okay,
So
I move for the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council to formally agree to be a member of the West Valley Neighborhood Alliance on Homelessness, with one or more members of the PRNC Homelessness Solutions Committee serving as representatives of PRNC.
Period.
And as a member of this alliance, we give our permission to utilize the PRNC logo for alliance outreach purposes.
we got that? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, public
Who's
comment?
that? Jason?
Jason. Any public comment? No public comment? Board comment?
I appreciate the leadership that Susan is taking on this issue,
And Brandon.
and Brandy.
All right, thank you. Call the vote.
All right, David,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Alex is absent, Jason,
Yes.
Andrew is absent, Brandy,
Yes.
Becky is absent, Assad,
Yes.
Gabriel, yes, Isam,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I thought the use of logo and membership had to be separate motions. They're together here, so it's fine.
Item 14. Alex is not here, so Gabe and Jason. This is a discussion, so, and possible action, so
Okay.
the floor is yours.
All right, and I brought Lori here because she's the co-chair. Reminded her that we were having our meeting at a different time than normal, so thank you for coming. But this is really the brainchild of Alex Kim. Unfortunately, he's in Korea. But this is a challenge that we've been facing in the community where we have these huge hillsides. We have, and Braymore is a perfect example of, we have a row of houses where there's a big wall and their house goes down the hill and they don't clean the back wall, which we all have to drive by and look at. And so, you know, we had to figure out how to get that clean. So the idea is to send these letters to homeowners, letting them know that it's their responsibility. Every time we talk to them, they say, oh, well, we don't know. We thought the city has to clean it up, you know? So this is a letter that came from Northridge West Neighborhood Council, I believe, did the same letter, and you're basically explaining them the law and the responsibility that homeowners have to clean to the sidewalks in front of their house, and the back of their side of their house.
Clean to the property line instead of cleaning to the fence, pretty much.
So Lori's been did all the work on this letter, so I'll defer those questions kind of to her. But basically, that's the idea, and the intent is to send to residents in certain locations. You know, some examples are, let's say along Tampa, you know, where there's that big hill. Okay, like I told you about Braymore too, that's another example. Rinaldi is another area where they're not cleaning in front of their house. You know, there's like an old tire sitting there for 6 months. You know, so this letter is to kind of educate them, and we have a flyer also that came from the city, which we want to reproduce. And so beautification, yeah, we got that from you guys.
And the letter from Northridge West was I wrote. President Chatsworth.
So you could have saved us a lot of time.
So, you know, obviously this is a problem that everybody is dealing with, you know, from Chatsworth to Northridge. So I think this is a great proposal. And we had, there we go with the street racing. Jeez. And then we did get some feedback from the public. One suggestion that we had in committee was to send photos, which is a lot of work, but I think it's a good idea, but I'm not sure if we can implement that. But the idea is the beautification committee will also come up with addresses, you know, based on known areas that we have, you know, certain stretches of road that we know are kind of problem areas. is. So that's pretty much the discussion. Lori, you have anything to add to this?
No, I was just going to say, I specifically went through and we basically went from Wilbur all along Rinaldi, all the way to Reseda, and we got all those addresses.
Because I can do that for
Painstakingly,
the title company for you. You need it, and if you need labels on it, let me know.
Yeah.
yes, we did. That would be wonderful. And we had a lot of great feedback at the meeting. We had other stakeholders there, and they agreed, and I think it's a wonderful idea. I don't know if we can do pictures, that just seemed like a lot of work.
It's a challenge.
For volunteers.
We had a volunteer to step up and take pictures.
That'd be different, yeah. But overall, I saw that this seemed like a great idea, a good first step.
I know I've expressed my concern to you about it, and I don't think it is being addressed in the approach that we have. There are slopes that are HOA slopes, and especially on Reseda is the one I know.
Those aren't the ones that
Those aren't the ones.
talking about.
Well, that's not my point. My point is this says Reseda, so it should be clarified in whatever was sent to people that if that slope is part of an HOA, then, you know, we don't want to alarm people that are in an HOA and give them the impression that we're saying we're going to come after you if you don't clean this up.
Right.
That's my concern about it.
And
And
we're not sending to HOAs. We're not sending to
Not HOA houses.
HOA addresses.
Basically, backing Rinaldi and backing.
I think that, are you referring to our little checkbox over here where we had Reseda as one of the checkboxes?
yes,
Maybe we dropped
that's the only one I
Reseda.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know what other HOAs exist that are ungated HOAs in Portland.
Oh, that's a really good point.
As an
'Cause we
example-
don't-
No, it's up on the.
But wait, do we
north.
know if Dulcet is part of an HOA? I don't know.
Yeah, they could be.
As an example.
How do we find this out?
That's the problem that I have. I just want you to be cautious, not to give the impression that this is an
Right.
enforcement letter.
Yeah. And then
We're not an enforcement agency.
Well, here's the good thing, is that if it is part of an HOA, they're gonna call the HOA, we'll get a phone call from the HOA, we'll say, hey, clean up your mess.
That's
No,
not.
the HOAs are doing a good job. The HOAs are doing an excellent job. But
So my HOA, right here.
well, the other issue brought up was regarding the city attorney. So did you send a letter to the city attorney or anything? Did anybody send anything to the city attorney?
You know
to
what?
check?
I sent my comments back about these issues. I got a response only from Lori. Nobody else said anything.
Okay.
I was not planning on putting it on the agenda because I think it has some serious problems need to be answered for the board to be able to be good with it, but I
Yeah.
put it on the agenda so we can have this discussion.
Okay, so I think that we should send it to the city attorney.
Yeah.
Would you want us to send it to them, or would you? I think that's what the next step should be.
That's fine. All I'm saying is, again, I'm trying to be extremely strict on the process.
I agree with you.
So if the process came from the committee to the board
Right.
to have this discussion, so
Right.
we're having this discussion. I'd like to, it's up to the committee. If the committee wants to contact the...
So you want the committee to send it to the city attorney, or you want to do it as the president?
I don't have a precedent on this to know what to tell you. So if you want me to shepherd it to the city
I
attorney,
think that would
I'd
be
be glad to do
appropriate.
that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I can do that. I just want to make sure that we have the support of the city on the
Right.
messaging of
No,
this.
we absolutely need to. I 100% agree with that. I wasn't sure if it had taken place already.
No, and I know, David, I know people who go to the HOAs, but people that understand the HOAs. There are people that live and get this letter and they would panic.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna get a bill.
You're right, we just
So
want
we can, take it back. Lori can work on some language that explains the HOA issues, or we could potentially look at removing this checkbox thing, which may or may not serve.
Or say, if you live in,
just a simple
if you live in an
sentence.
HOA, please communicate with your HOA about this matter.
There you go.
Oh,
That way,
Perfect.
they have something to do, because
I like that.
if there's no instruction, they will panic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Just keep in mind, 60% of Californians are renters, and renters do not have any standing and are often forbidden from contacting HOAs.
So if you're a renter, talk to the landlord,
Yeah.
there you go. Talk to the property owner. Just one second, yeah, I'll get just one second. Any other
Yeah.
board comment? on the discussion?
No, I thank you for putting it on the agenda so we can have this discussion and figure out the plan. So
Okay.
I just want to keep moving.
All right, go ahead.
Just a clarification, HOA, homeowners association?
Yes.
Because you
Yes,
keep
I'm
using
sorry.
that term. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so then are we tabling the?
Motion to table it.
Okay.
Okay,
And you'll forward it to the city attorney?
after we make the language changes?
Okay, Lori will email Esau revision.
Yeah, it's about contact your HOA or contact your landlord if you're a renter.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and then we'll go from there.
Just for your background,
Yes.
I think Chatsworth was the first one to send it out. But what we did was, we got a letter from Greg Smith that goes back that far.
Oh, wow.
And the letter was on his stationery and was Greg Smith. And it was, the Chatsworth Neighborhood Council wants you to know that. And it was sent out and with the brochure. And the primary issue, we don't have HOAs in Chatsworth. There's virtually no HOAs at all, so that wasn't an issue. But the primary thing we found was, it's not that people did not want to clean up their property or that they were consciously not doing it. People don't know that where their wall is, they're still responsible for stuff on the other side of the wall. And since so many people have gardeners, it was a matter of they should talk to their gardener and say, hey, you need to clean up this extra area. So once people were informed, a lot of them would respond.
And for what it's worth, to be honest, I mean, from a personal perspective, I would like to play the role of looking after the homeowner as opposed to looking after the City Bureau of Services. In other words, tell the homeowner, you should know that the city requires these things from you, and there might be penalties that they will impose on you. So we recommend that you take action and clean it up, sort of watching for their benefit, not to get dinged with a penalty, even though nobody's enforcing anything, but at least to suggest it in that manner. But that's just language, it's not important. I just want to clarify it on the HOAs and renters. Thank you.
You definitely do not want to send a letter out that says the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council is doing something.
That's what I'm afraid of, the interpretation of it.
Well, would you
Okay.
help us
We'll
with,
work through that. Okay.
Suggestions?
Okay, we'll do that. All right, so we're tabling this motion. Next item, it's item 15. Susan.
Me. Okay, discussion and possible action to authorize me, Susan Romachain, to file a community impact statement on Council File 18-0131, which calls for a pilot of zero emissions maintenance program for selected parks or golf courses in Los Angeles. So, a community impact statement, for those of you who don't know, is when we as a council can write, when there's a council file from the LA City Council, that we can throw our support behind it, or we can say, we're for if amended, against it. It is just something that we have to sort of weigh in on an issue that the City Council is promoting. Why it's important is, and I didn't know this till I got involved in the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, is there's a lot of health and environmental issues created by using gas-powered equipment in the areas of health. It can impact your brain, your eyes, nose, throat, lungs, and heart of not only the worker using the equipment, but also those in the vicinity. The equipment, gas-powered lawn equipment, gives out carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxides, hydrocarbons, particulate matter, benzene. You can see the whole list on the second page here. It also, as a fossil fuel, contributes to climate change. The California Air Resources Board has said, quote, for the best-selling leaf blowers, for instance, that's only one piece of lawn equipment, 1 hour of operation emits smog-forming pollution comparable to driving a 2016 Toyota Camry about 1,100 miles. The difference is that a car emits all of that pollution over a big stretch of road, while a leaf blower deposits it all in one front or backyard. So So again, this community impact statement, should we choose to have me write it, and I have the language here, I'm approving it, would calls again for a pilot of zero-emission maintenance programs for selected parks or golf courses in Los Angeles. So there have been other cities that have gone to electric equipment instead of gas-powered equipment, and so LA is just saying, hey, let's do this pilot study. We'll pick a couple parks or a golf course, and we'll see how it goes. And if that's successful, then we'll go from there and maybe make it a law. I also added some things here about crew education being important, because as you transition from gas to electric, you have to work a little differently. We've all seen the gardeners that are using gas-powered, like a leaf blower, just mindlessly blowing like this. You know, when you have batteries, and you have a limited life of batteries, you have to be a little more careful about how you use it. You might have to rate more. But you work differently, and so there's a training component and a buy-in that goes with it for it to be successful. So that's why I added some language about crew education being important.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Something I thought of that, we're asking for one of our parks to be?
No, what we're doing is we are supporting, we're saying we agree with this council file that calls for a pilot of zero emissions maintenance. We don't get to select the park, we're just saying we support this pilot park.
Can we suggest that it should have the Porter Ranch neighborhood be one of the parks?
You say it should, this is CIS.
I mean,
You can send a follow-up.
Okay, can we do that?
Well, I think by doing a community impact statement, that's sending a message that we're leaders on this issue.
Because I was thinking if they would do it in our parks, I'd be happy to try to push us to pay for a sign outside the park that says this park is maintained with zero emissions equipment, to put the message out to the public as well.
So would we say, instead of on issues of council file 18-031, we are for, should we say for if amended? I mean, I don't want to say that we're not for it unless it's in a park. I mean,
no, we're supporting it, but I'm just saying, maybe we follow up afterwards with a letter to the department saying we would, if we consider one of our parks, we will cover the outreach with a sign on the outside.
We could add we could add a paragraph at the end that says, additionally, we are so in favor of this. If you select one of the Porter Ranch neighborhood parks, we will even pay for a sign.
We can't say we will because we haven't voted, but we have to finagle the language to make it. We're interested in considering.
We would explore.
Do we know where this is? Is this in committee? Do we know where this is, the council file is?
I have no idea.
it seems to be in limbo, which is why we want it, why we want to support it, why we're trying to get neighborhood councils to support it, because oftentimes these pilot programs will do a council file and then they'll just sort of drift away. That's why I felt it was important to get as many neighborhood councils and say, look, we are for this and get this process going.
Because we can go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, if we do file this community impact statement, we can go to the hearings and we can mention, what we talked about this, and this is something we're very interested in. So that's one option.
Okay.
Since you said there's a training component, it makes the job a little bit harder. Are there any worker unions or anything that are opposing this change?
No. It's just that. I think we all know from personal experience that you do have to work differently when you use electric. Yeah.
But there's no opposition to it that we know of?
No, there isn't.
All right, and this is the exact language of CIS that you're proposing,
Yes.
not just language for the CIS, but this is the language
This
of
is
the
it,
CIS.
yes.
Those 3 paragraphs.
All right, so that was a discussion. We had our discussion. Any more discussion on it? Should we turn it into a motion or not?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'll make a motion to authorize Susan Gorman-Chang to file a community impact statement on council file 18-0131, which calls for a pilot zero emissions maintenance program for selected parks or golf courses in Los Angeles.
All right, we have a second from David. Any public comment? All right, any board comment?
I'm glad to see we're doing CISs. So. That was one of our goals.
All right, read that. Call the vote.
All right, David.
Yes.
Hassan.
Yes.
Susan.
Yes.
Alex. Absent. Jason.
Yes.
Andrew is absent. Randy.
Yep.
Becky is absent. Assad?
Yes.
Gabriel? Yes. Isam?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 16, last item.
Okay.
Jason.
All right. All right, Lori. Okay, adopt the median, discussion and possible action to authorize up to $7,500 for the pending adopt the median project application on the Tampa median adjacent to the 118 freeway. Lori's worked a lot on the application. The application was submitted. We approved it last fiscal year, but we ended up not getting, we ended up using that money for the tree project since we didn't get it approved yet. It's a lot closer to getting approved. I went out there this morning and marked the area of the median so that Dig Alert can mark all the utilities. One last thing, we're trying to figure out where the water meter is. And I talked to Don Larson, he said it's in the next median down. So we're just waiting on the Bureau of Engineering to, we did get the irrigation plan. We needed to put the irrigation plan in there, as well as remove the thorny rose bushes, and we put in the bird of paradise.
I thought we took it out.
We took out the thorny, because the city didn't allow.
I thought we took out the bird of paradise as well.
No, they put the bird of paradise, replacing the
thorny thing.
The thorny bushes. Yeah, which they wouldn't allow. So it's the same project. We're still working with Marina. Marina had somebody do the landscaping plan for us, so that's been submitted this week. So we're just want to get the funds authorized for this. And that's pretty much it. Lori has the application and all that, if there's any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
This budget number, last year it was just a number. This year, is it based on things that we know more about, or?
That was the price that they agreed to do the job for. So it's
The contractor?
The contractor agreed to do the installation of all the landscaping as well as all the irrigation and maintenance for 1 year. And this is Marina Landscaping is the company.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know, I mean, our entire CIS budget is, community, I'm sorry.
Community improvement project.
CIP is 10,000, so this is 2/3 of that. So if there are other community improvement projects that we're thinking about, we got to put that in context. And we can't, if we allocate it, it comes out of that.
Yeah.
So, okay?
Yeah, well, as far as...
Are there any thoughts on anything else?
Regarding other improvement projects, like you kind of talked about at the retreat, I mean, to plant trees, we don't have that kind of money. Okay. And so really, we've been asking the city to plant the trees. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, this is a lot of money coming out of our budget. What I'd like to do is I would like to reach out to John Love and see if they would like to participate and get some of their money, because this is a thoroughway going right to their shopping center. And it's going to be very important for people to getting out of Tampa, getting out of Port Australia, so they might even just pay the whole thing.
Might, will, or, I don't know. That's a discussion that you have to have with John Love.
I have no problem bringing it tomorrow morning. I just think that this is a big chunk that comes out of our budget where we don't have that much from the city.
Well, just understand we've been working on this for quite some time.
I realize we use the money that we...
So if you could save us that money, it's not like we would say, hey, don't tell them not to, right? Do we have any issues with... See, that's another question, right? Because we've already applied under neighborhood council. We've already applied under neighborhood council, so.
Okay, but you realize that should not have happened that way either, right? Because last year is last year. If you reapplied this year, it should have come back to the board.
We didn't reapply. The application was submitted last year and has been in process the whole time. So now we don't have the funding anymore that we approved last fiscal year.
Okay, I assumed you said at the beginning that, we're working on the application.
Well, that was like
last year.
9 months ago.
Yeah. So who did you apply to?
So yeah, there's an Adopt a Median program within the city.
So we applied to the city.
The city works you through the city process, as we applied as a neighborhood council. And one of the things is the maintenance, so the neighborhood council takes on the maintenance for that median responsibility.
But the city should then be aware that our budget shifted, so if we have to go...
No, they don't care.
But they should be aware.
But I thought with
We had to back up.
It's different parts of the city. They don't really, what we do and what they do is...
So we have two options. We proceed with it here, or we give David a chance to ask, and if it doesn't work, we come back to vote on it in January, which is still before any other project is in front of us, as you well know, so it's not like the money's going to go anywhere.
Where are we at on our budget? We're Trigger's not here. Do you know what our bottom line is? How many more months do we have?
Honestly, the MER is online. If I knew he was not going to be here, I would have printed it myself. But
I actually think it too.
How would that work?
Secretary.
How would that work? Like, so it would have to be a new application, it seems.
No, because this is about just the payment to a private company. This is not about the city application. It's the payment to the private company. So it's about sharing that payment.
So if we got the Adopt a Median project approved through the city, and they wanted to pay for it, that could be possible?
Well, let me ask you, where does the payment go? To the city, and they pay Marina?
The payment goes to the contractor.
Directly to the contractor.
Directly from the neighborhood council?
Yes, well, okay.
Because if that's the case, then Marina can bill us for half the job, for example, and bill Love for the other half, if they agree to do that. I don't know, but if it goes to the city, we'll forget it. We'll just do the whole thing.
Right, but if the city, we would get the money, the council would have to cut the check to the contractor.
Right, but it can cut the check for
half.
50.
This is what I'm going to propose. I propose that we go ahead and vote on this motion. And then I personally would like to reach out to Frank Stewart Toll Brothers, and I would like to reach out to John Love at Toll Brothers. We have our run coming up, and I think, there's no reason why they can't cover this. This is a median that everybody sees when we get on the freeway. And this goes directly to their properties.
So maybe we should table it until we talk to them.
No, I think we should.
No, I would give a deadline.
I think we should.
If we have nothing by January, then we vote on it.
No, I think we can vote on it because I think we're all in agreement that the beautification committee has done a good job on this. I just think
It's up to. So, it says up to 7,500. So that means that if we get subsidized a portion of that, that's not prohibited.
You're not going to spend it. The money will go right back to, and I believe the money will go right back.
Will that work?
And we will also need to clear it.
Reconsider it too next meeting.
We need to also clear it with the city that we can adopt a medium project with a private entity in terms of cost.
But if we can't, maybe they'll just want to take on the Adopt a Median program, they want to do it themselves.
There's another option.
Or maybe you take in the maintenance after the first year.
Right, the maintenance would be a good
There's
option.
another option.
They already have that built in anyway.
Well, our councilman's about to be out, which means he's not going to have any political blowback from anything he does in the next month. We could see if maybe the councilman's office can kick in to help with this.
Oh, let's call that one.
Yeah, because especially since the city kind of flipped us around.
We've asked, and we always hear the discretionary funds are gone. That's what we've been told.
But he's very generous with discretionary funds for the community. That's what we heard.
That's what we heard.
But, I mean, definitely,
It's the end of the year and he's leaving.
Maybe we can get something out of the Sunshine Canyon account.
Yeah.
It keeps to be spent on whatever, anyway. Okay, so...
I too can reach out to them as well.
All those options can be explored, and we support those alternative funding sources.
Is there any problem then with the motion as is?
I don't have a problem. I think we should move forward on it.
Is there anything in the pipeline that if it ends up being all on us, that we know this is going to screw over?
None that I know, but then again,
This could be our thing.
All right. So can I have a motion then?
I'll make a motion to authorize up to $7,500 for the pending Adopt a Median project application on the Tampa median adjacent to the 118th freeway.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Public comment? and public comment. Board comment?
Just a quick question, whatever happened to that idea that they were going to detour Berry all the way down Tampa with Northridge West?
That was a proposed partnership that we abandoned last year.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, call the vote.
All right, David,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Alex is absent, Jason,
Yes.
Andrew is absent, Brandy,
Yes.
Becky is absent, Assad,
No.
Gabriel, yes, Isam,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Thank you. Before I adjourn, please, David, make sure you sign all the funding forms. Andrew's not here. So with
Yes.
that,
So don't run away.
without objection, meeting's adjourned.
Yes.